American Band is on. I love it. I love this song. I know nothing about anybody. I didn't even know who Pete Townsend was. All right? And I heard this other song on the radio, I Saw the Light. So I like that. I know I've talked to a lot of people about you relate to that, like, what got your attention? These things got my attention. And then I met a guy who told me what those 3 albums had in common. And it was this strange rainbow-haired angel, god, demon, I don't know. And he played A Wizard or True Star for me in his basement. I remember When the Shit Hits the Fan, I remember Just One Victory, especially how Just One Victory. Huh?
How'd you get to his basement?
That's another story. It's another lecture.
All right.
All right. And that had, of course, the postcard in it. He showed me his postcard, and he told me about how you send the card in, you get on the album. I said, why do you still have the card? And he goes, because if I sent the card in, I wouldn't have the card anymore. And then he took me to, or we went together to Todd Rundgren's Utopia, a couple miles north of here, October 16th, 1974, my first rock concert, my first experience. I've never consciously inhaled. If anybody was in that room when the lights went out, I don't think there was any oxygen left. It may have affected my perceptions, but 2.5 hours, music I had never heard before. He didn't play a single song I knew. They did When the Shit Hits the Fan. They did Just One Victory, but they didn't do I Saw the Light. They didn't do all this other stuff. They did this crazy, crazy stuff. And then so this album, Todd, was already, in print at that time. And it had the poster in it. And this really excited me conceptually about how he's the star, but you take out all the names, there's nothing there. There's no image, there's nothing. So this idea that he's welcoming his connection between the fans and the music and the person, and I was very fixated on Todd the person. That's part of what happens in the story. And then I've done giant albums, versions of this. I don't know if people were here at the Todd. This was a Todd Healing show, as a matter of fact. That's David Hartson. I think he's no longer with us. And then there were all the productions that, where am I? When I first I actually made this presentation one time for people at work, and I had to tell them who Todd Rundgren was. So you all know all this stuff. And then the high point that still is the high point, even when I talk to people who are 19, they know who Meatloaf is, and then there's at least a connection. Oh, okay, and I can say stories like that would not have happened without Todd Rundgren, and Moogie Klingman actually too. But that proves to me that it doesn't matter how weird the music is. If you stick with it, it'll connect. And what happens with Todd is that he gets bored and he moves on. So.
Get out.
Yeah, it's happened. My brilliant concept being illuminated by this was that I wanted to meet him. I wanted to meet him, and I wanted him to hear from me how important his music was to me. I mean, this stuff literally saved my life. It brought me focus, solace, escape, enlightenment, everything.
Low power charge.
It happened.
Low power. Vocabulary.
You know, I don't think it's a big power for everybody. It's like the red button.
We're having technology issues here. Well, it should be the same as on. AV. You know what? I'm not gonna go with the slideshow. Turn the lights up a little bit. I know this whole story. And,
Too bad, though.
find some lights for me. If someone wants to sit there and try to figure that out, I'm not going to worry about it. The projector's right there. It's going to go off, but I'm not going to worry about it.
All right.
So the visual sometimes helps, but you'll get the idea. I just have to remember what I did. I started drawing pictures of Todd and taking them to concerts. And my idea was, I'm going to go to the side of the stage and say, here's this drawing I made. I want Todd to sign it. And it ultimately happened, and that's what's on the screen right now. You get to that part. It's the drawing.
Battery.
Is it the battery one?
Yeah, it's the projector.
There's the projector.
Yeah.
Does it need power too?
It does.
There's probably a switch right here.
Yeah, do you have a micro USB? Alright, yeah.
Try that.
Might be a
Yeah,
little
that'll work.
closer.
That'll work if
Right after next to you.
There's something in the room sucking the power out.
We got a power
It'll go right here.
That should be free of charge.
We have to do something.
The switch is covered up by tape right now. The switch is covered up by tape. They're gonna work on that. All right, so I'm drawing pictures of Todd. I'm 16. I'm drawing pictures of Todd. I ultimately did meet him, but it wasn't until 1983. So by this time, I've been drawing every Todd show, another drawing. And this particular thing in 1983, people don't believe this, but he actually headlined U2's first American tour show. It was in Durham, North Carolina. It was the producers, Grandmaster Flash, U2, and I'm talking with the banner and the flag over the whole thing, and then Todd solo. And I was with a guy who said, how was Todd gonna beat that?
Huh.
And he came out and he did what he does, and it was great. So I got over every last nerve I had. I'd always talk myself out of it. Oh,
coming
you
up.
know, he's not gonna wanna talk to me. Oh, I don't wanna be a jerk. Hey, is it on?
I think we're up and running, Bill.
Ah!
Mike.
Lights off! Lights off!
Power battery.
Good job.
Get the lights off.
Again?
You just roll with it. But you have to remember where the light switch is. There's somebody back there, right?
You got all the hi-hats off. You just need to get the bass.
All right, so here's the drawing that I did. The first drawing that I did to take to Todd, and I finally met him. It took 9 years of drawing. This one's funny because I saw Chasm at a show one time, and I said I want to get this signed by Todd, and he looked at the picture of Todd and went, "Oh, that's nice." And he went away, and then thought, okay, I need to draw the whole band. So I started drawing the whole band. I drew the whole band, and then eventually they all signed that as well. I did crazy stuff like this was the first computer rendering. Todd was 1 billion seconds old in 1980, February of 1980.
You were a boy.
Everybody is 1 billion seconds old when they get to 31 years in something. So this was the first Macintosh drawing. I would like to show everybody how I made that one too. That might come one day. All right, then I started, actually when I met Todd, I gotta do that, I gotta say this right. I met Todd after this quest, and then by the time I walked back to my friend in the audience who was waiting for me, I thought, what am I supposed to do now? I mean, I had achieved my life's goal.
Right now.
Now what? And I started thinking about the music and meeting him and the way that he reacted to the art and what he said to me about the art and what he remembered and didn't remember. And I realized that if there's a message in Todd's music, it is there's more to life than Todd Rundgren. That's what the message of his music is. There's more to life than him. It's not him. And this got me immediately kicked out of the Todd Rundgren fan club. So that didn't daunt me. I had this idea that the name, the card, and the poster, and I wanted to do that. So I said, let's get Todd in Rolling Stone, and I started collecting money from fans to get an ad in Rolling Stone, and I found out that it cost like gobs of money to get a full-page ad in Rolling Stone. But I thought, what if I did it only as big as the number of fans who contributed? So I spent thousands of dollars advertising this, direct mail, ads in backs of magazines, and we got 300 fans, And then the classified ad in, 92, I think this is, we ran the ad for Todd. It was
What was
never
the total
ad,
cost?
huh?
What's the total cost?
I don't remember, it was something around 10 grand for all the money involved. But the fan club, because they didn't want anything to do with me anymore, didn't support the ad or any of that stuff. But I continued to do it. I collected money later. And this was funny. It's U2 who was on the cover of the Next Time I Do It. Now we've got a quarter-page full-color ad. It's actually the same number of people, but the technology is helping me out now. And then I did it again at the 40th anniversary of Rolling Stone, 40th anniversary of Todd. He started music same time as Rolling Stone. And we did it again. I got a half-page ad that time, thanks to the many fans who were involved. Now the story gets really interesting here because Utopia Redux happened, and the fan club ran a contest to do the cover art for the T-shirt for the tour. And with my reputation with them, I thought they're never gonna even. But I didn't care. I said I have to do this. I sent in 3 designs, and then I had to wait to find out what happened. And I didn't know until the album came out that the logo was actually used and featured on the back of the album. Long story short, I learned that it was more important for me that Todd chose my art than for anyone to know about it, except me. That my credit didn't end up on the album. It's a long, crazy story, but from that point, I converted what I did for the tour to this design, and Todd had been interviewed along those times about, someone called into a radio station and said, Todd, you do all this music, you're into computers, you do these wonderful things, I admire you so much, who do you admire? And he didn't even blink. He said, I don't admire people, I admire ideas. And now we talked about, I'm 16 years old, I go to the show, I'm older, I meet him, now time's gone on, and now I'm hearing it's not even about him. He's saying it's not about me. And I thought, what is the idea? What do I read? What do I watch? What do I believe to be true? What is calling me out of the music and art everyone's doing? What is it saying to me? And it's saying to me that utopia is here. And in this design, pyramids, right, you see it? Spheres and obelisks. But what you look at, what you think, what you see with your mind's eye, what the reality is. So if you imagine the perfect world, no death, no disease, whatever it is you think it is, it's still going to be circles, squares, and triangles. It's still going to be the colors, and it's still going to be what do you see, and that's what that art means. So from that point, I just started I did a lot of other designs that were featured in many other programs that I was involved with. This one's called Crayola Todd. That's crayon drawing of Todd. But after drawing him as long as I had, it was very easy to do. I brought a musician back and used that one. There's Utopia's Here design. Some people have this one. I think Mr. Utopia's here. James.
Yeah, I got that.
He's got that one. A few people have that one. I think James also has this one, which was really funny when a lot of people thought globe. I did this in '94, so the black and white versions. I've seen someone had that one today. Who's got that one? All right. Now it starts. This is called Awatt's Todd, Wizard.
No doubt.
And this is where Mr. Ford enters the picture. We kind of helped each other out. I think I was his first guest on Rundgren Radio, and I did the Rundgren Radio logo, and he would call upon me at times to say, well, Awatt's Live is gonna happen. What are we gonna do? So I threw some concepts together, and I really like this particular image of Todd because in the detail of it, you can tell it's older Todd. In the glasses is the shaving face Todd from the Awatt's album. But as you see, his eyes he's old, but his eyes sees into the past. And we tried a bunch of different backgrounds, but the swirling rainbow was the one that just resonated. And that turned out so brilliant. And then the next year, he says, okay, he pitched, and I don't know if Ford minds if I tell him, he pitched do like Hermit and Runt live. And Todd came back and said, no, I want to do Todd and Healing. And we all went, what? Wow. And Ford said, draw me something. So the task is now figure out how to make this album, which is very cerebral, direct, linear, compact, mindful, peaceful, pinnacle of focused energy, and make it go side by side with Todd, which is in and out the chakras we go.
Very good.
Well, the first thing I thought about was, did it come up here? There we go. A dream that I had about the time Healing was supposed to come out, and I was plugged in enough with the network to know there was a Healing album coming. Was anticipating it greatly, and I had this dream where there's this nebulous cloud, and Todd comes out of the cloud, robed, palms out like Jesus, and except he has this mask on, and he's pursuing me. And I'm running and I'm chasing and I'm like, get away from me, and I'm screaming, you know, leave me alone, and he won't. He comes after me, pursues me, and he gets down in my face and he says, take the mask off, take the mask off. And I take the mask off, and it's me. So I tried to draw it back then, and this is the best I could do. I got Todd, the robe, the nebulous cloud, but I know Todd's not God because it's me, and I'm not God. So I call this Todd is not God. And when he saw it, he said, that's a little intense. So now I've got this deal where we have Todd, Venus Todd, and we've got Healing Todd, you know, Ron Ely Todd, I call him. And how are we going to combine these two diverse concepts into a single image? And I looked at all the songs and I said, these are the words that they either have in common or are unique to the album. So in life, we love, we learn, we listen, we dream, and we scream. It's time to scream, right? Then we know, and we heal. So this is the process of what should the art be? The art should be something big and scary, but beautiful and meaningful. And that's what those were the words, and I don't know if anybody deals with art or how they think about art in life, but this is the process I use. What have I got to do? What's the criteria that the world is telling me needs to be represented? This will never work if you're listening to someone else tell you what the criteria is. Someone else tells you what the criteria is, you can be a designer for them. But if you're going to be an artist, you need to listen to what's guiding you. And if you're lucky, you get somebody to pay for what you did. So I took those words, and then I went like, okay, what's healing? Okay, we'll use a medical symbol. The caduceus, it's called. Side history note, that's really not the caduceus. The caduceus really is one staff. This is really the symbol for Mercury. But in 1930, some artist said, do a medical symbol, and he pulled this one out, and that's what it is. So medical symbol, and you see it's the wings and the staff and the snakes. That's good stuff. But again, that's not unique enough for this art. I want to combine music with that. So, and I wanted to talk about how deep it goes. And so it's DNA strand. So now, when you put all this together, you end up with the being in the middle. At this time, it was called Toddicus. the winged being in the center. The snakes now are black and white for yin and yang, because that's all over Todd's music in the world. And this is not about Todd Rundgren. This is about musical power. The snakes turn into the DNA strand, and the nucleotides are all piano keys. And one of the greatest joys for me, it's trivial and personal and probably not that important, but when Prairie Prince saw this, he said, "I wish I had thought of that." So I felt good about that. And then in the poster, which will be for sale in the lobby, the words are hidden in the background. So we're taking a little side journey now. Now this was really important to me because this is the first time Todd ever bought my art. I drew the art for Doug. Then my mother-in-law died, and I was sitting out at her house, and I thought, she was telling me, it's making me emotional, she was telling me do something. So I sent the art to Michelle, and Michelle saw it and said, let's make shirts out of that. So that's where the shirts came from, so praise to Michelle. And when the show was happening, I'm going back to, how do the fans connect? And I don't know who was at that show, but this was a concept art I did. 2,000 pieces of paper of 3 different colors. The balcony said Todd. The bottom side is the Utopia symbol from '92. And that was the concept drawing for what we wanted it to look like. And another concept drawing. That's where everybody was seated. We had tape, and there was about 15 people joined me taping these to the backs of the chairs. And that's what Todd saw. And he came out, it's on audio, he said, "What's all this?" And he said, "Oh, I get it. You can see it. It's the circle. It's this pyramid, the sphere, the obelisk, and the eyes in the center."
So he did say that?
He said, "What's all this?" He said, "Oh, I get it."
Got it.
Now, I don't buy tickets to Todd shows anymore. I just show up and see what happens. And it's always something good. This particular case, my friend Doreen McCafferty, I don't know if you know Doreen, she had bought my ticket. She said, "I have a ticket, just come and find me and we'll go and sit down." And I had my ticket, I'm coming down the row. This is at this theater we're gonna be at tonight. And I'm walking down the row, here, center, right. I am dead center in the middle of this design that I have been working months on, and I never would have put myself there. I would not have done that. I would not have chosen that, because it's not about Todd, and it's not about me, but that's where I ended up. So the whole story it's telling me is I have to follow my heart, do what I'm gonna do, even if nobody is ever gonna see it.
It's like great poetry.
And things happen. So there it is. The pyramid, the sphere, the obelisk, and the eye in the center. There's the side view.
Cool that he got it though.
And then we had a party. So there they are. That's Ron Ely Todd. That's, Venus Todd, and Toddicus at the time was called Toddicus at the time.
What is
All right.
Lord drinking?
I'm sure it's seltzer water. Something healthy. So now, when I did this presentation, it was for a work thing. Come and talk to us about what you're doing, and this is what I'm doing. So I kind of put this together for them. And I did the math. All right? When I was 16, 1974, I saw Todd in Utopia. All right? Took me a while, but I met Todd, or Todd met me, I don't know, a little bit. He saw the art I had done at the time. Then in '92 was the Redux thing that happened that I thought would never win, and did, because I said, I gotta try. That was big for me. That was big. This was like pointing me to a larger world. In 2001, everybody took a break in America. So did I. And then in 2010, Toddicus was born. And what year is it?
2019.
And how many years is it between 1974 and 1983? 9 years. 9 years, Utopia's here. 9 years, I take a break. 9 years, Todicus is born. And now it's 2019. And here I am.
Thank
And
goodness for that, man. You got a ticket tonight yet?
I do. So when I finished this presentation, I called it, I am Todicus. And that was my joke for a long time. And then what I realized in this whole process is it's been the elimination of the person that I'm focused on, whether that's Todd or me, or Jennifer Aniston. And you take the person out of it and the ego out of it, and what you're left with is the being, the musical, the new being, the new creation. And I want you to appreciate something here. A really good friend of mine who was supposed to be my bunkmate tonight, Grady Motes, dealing with some issues, couldn't be here. Works the sound for the boards. I was talking to him after this was made. This was all done. And he said, hey, Bill, what's up with the shiny legs? Why are they metallic legs? What's going on there? And I said, well, I'm not really sure. I left him in there because, you know, there was the Todd becomes the thing and Born to Synthesize, the Tepte video. He creates this shiny thing. And I left it in there because I thought that was cool. But he said, no, that's not what it is. I said, what do you mean? You're telling me what the art means? Yeah. The statue, the demigod, the ancient being, whatever that is being transformed to the ethereal being. So that's the transformational process. And I would say to you, from my heart, everyone in here, the focus that you put on whatever it is that excels you and amplifies you and illuminates you, it's you. You're doing that. It doesn't happen unless you bring that focus to it. And your mission is to be your perfect self. And that's what this is. Okay.
Thank you.
Lights.
Outstanding.
I think that was exactly a half an hour.
That's all right, right?